I've been to even Iran, but all in my dreams. Now I want to start actualizing the dream, and I want to start with America. Quite a number of us have been to Israel, but all. But today we will journey to Israel, not in our dreams, through reading the scripture. And I invite us all to open to Joshua chapter 24. Joshua chapter 24. We'll read from verse 14. Joshua 24 from verse 14. Before we read, let's pray. Father, we thank you so very much for your words that we have in our hands. We ask that you bless your word in our hearts as we read together. The lessons that you want us to learn, the direction you want us to take, whatever it is that you have set for us, Father, we ask that you prepare our hearts to receive your counsel. And bless our hearts and bless us today. Pray in Jesus' name. Amen. I'm reading from the newer translation of NIV. Joshua 24 from verse 14 to 27. Now fear the Lord and serve him with all faithfulness. Throw away the gods your ancestors worshipped beyond the river Euphrates and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Then the people answered, Far be it from us to forsake the Lord to serve other gods. It was the Lord our God himself who brought us and our parents up out of Egypt, from that land of slavery, and performed those great signs before our eyes. He protected us on our entire journey, and among all the nations through which we traveled. And the Lord drove out before us all the nations, including the Amorites who lived in the land. We too will serve the Lord because he is our God. Joshua said to the people, You are not able to serve the Lord. He is a holy God. He is a jealous God. He will not forgive your rebellion and your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve foreign gods, he will turn and bring disaster on you and make an end of you after he's been good to you. But the people said to Joshua, No, we will serve the Lord. Then Joshua said, You are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen to serve the Lord. Yes, we are witnesses, they replied. Now then, said Joshua, throw away the foreign gods that are among you, and give your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel. And the people said to Joshua, We will serve the Lord our God and obey him. On that day, Joshua made a covenant for the people, and there at Shechem, he reaffirmed for them decrees and laws. And Joshua recorded these things in the book of the law of God. Then he took a large stone and set it up there under the oak near the holy place of the Lord. See, he said to all the people, this stone will be a witness against us. It has heard all the words the Lord has said to us. It will be a witness against you if you are untrue to your God. Then Joshua dismissed the people, each to their own inheritance. May the Lord bless the reading of his word. We're looking at the topic Covenant renewal, the path to walking in God's promises. Covenant renewal, the path to walking in God's promises. This year, the theme we are studying in ECWA says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing." And this theme is taken from Isaiah chapter 42, verse 19. And in ECWA Seminary Church, we have stepped it down to families in God's new plan. Families in God's new plan. I'm not going to break that down for you because that is what we'll take the entire year doing, breaking down this thing. So if you want to know what new thing God is doing, or you want to see how families will key into this God's plan, this new thing that God is doing, then we have to journey together to the entire year. All right. You also know, especially those of us that have been members of this church in the recent past, that over the years we have established that the home is set up by God to be the first discipleship center, positioned in the society to accomplish God's mission in the community. That is God's plan for the family, to be the first discipleship center. You also know, especially from the pictures you see in our bulletin, and when the new one will be rolled out next Sunday, hopefully, you will still see these three pictures emerging. That the three pillars the Lord has blessed us with to do ministry in the seminary church are there: the family, discipleship, and missions. We've also established that the church is the larger family of God. We here seated are the family of God, so we are one family. And it is in this family that the Lord has established himself. We find discipleship taking place in a larger scale, where saints are equipped to accomplish the mission of God through reaching out in a holistic way to this sick and dying world that we live in. The prayer that I have for us as we begin this year is that as individuals and as families, we will properly position ourselves to walk daily in God's new plan. Amen. That is the prayer that I have. We have a big role to play as individuals and in our various families in order for us to accomplish this task, to be positioned properly in God's new plan. God has rolled out his plan for us to walk in. And I believe that our study in Isaiah this year will help us in this regard. But our takeoff from Joshua is to help us to set up the parameter we will use at the end of the year to evaluate how far we've gone. So already I am laying for us what will be, in some ways, the conclusion of our study for this year. If Jesus does not come. If Jesus will come, amen. Amen. But to put us in perspective of our passage today, I want us to look back a bit. You would recall that earlier, Moses, the servant of God, led the children of Israel from bondage and slavery in Egypt and ruled the promised land. Now God had told Moses that he will not lead the nation to cross the Jordan into the land. And this is the reason. Moses, he broke faith with God at Meribah. You remember that event where by reason of the pressure from the people, the children of Israel, out of anger, Moses, he was pressured and he struck twice the rock when God said, "Speak to the rock to bring up water." And the people were thirsty and they pressured Moses and he struck the rock twice in a wrong spirit. If you read Numbers chapter 20, from verse 9 to 13, you will capture this account. And so God was not happy with Moses. And he said, Moses, you will not enter the promised land. If you are not careful, people's pressure will cause you to derail from God's plan for you. If you are not careful. It happened to Moses. And remember Moses? God said, this guy is my friend. I speak with him one-on-one. When he was rebuking Aaron and Miriam, do you remember that? But still, God could say this to Moses. By reason of this act of disobedience, you will not enter the promised land. So be careful. But before Moses' death, at the plains of Moab, God asked him to install Joshua as the leader of the community who will accomplish the task. And if you read Deuteronomy chapter 31, you will find that handing over ceremony. So the context of the book of Joshua presents to us once a nomadic community, now a nation settled, each in their apportioned land. And at this point, Joshua, who had led them from after Moses, had also reached the end of his journey. His time in office was elapsing. His sojourn on earth had come to conclusion. And so just as Moses bade the community farewell at the plains of Moab, Joshua summoned a meeting at a place called Shechem in the presence of God to do handing over. 2019 in Nigeria will be a year of a possible handing over. I don't want to be like that prophet who said, when Olufalaye and Obasanjo were contesting, they said, prophet, prophesy, who will be the next president? And then he looked into his crystal ball. He said, I read this on paper. He said, I saw an Olu becoming president of Nigeria. Now, many people will not understand this in the face value, but this is it. It was a contest between Olufalaye and Olusegun Obasanjo. Olufalaye and Olusegun. So he said he saw an Olu becoming the president. Was he wrong? In the end, an Olu became the president. So Joshua was going to hand over. And so he summoned a meeting at Shechem in the presence of God. Now this meeting was not an ordinary meeting. It was a covenant renewal meeting. In the covenant renewal ceremony, the people were reminded of God's covenant promise from Abraham, whom God began to initiate this covenant, and then with the nation at the foot of the Sinai. If you read Exodus from 19 to 24, you will see the full account of how the children of Israel entered into a covenant agreement with God, that they will become to him a kingdom of priesthood and a holy nation. They will be for him his own people. And the criteria for that choice is that God wanted to express his love to the world. And he was going to use the children of Israel to be that agent of expressing his love and accomplishing his mission here on earth. If I will bring the idea of the covenant home to us today, it is an expression of the relationship that we have as believers in Christ Jesus. We have entered a covenant with God through Jesus. The shedding of his blood has sealed that covenant. If you will just take time at home and read Exodus 19 to 24, you will see the relationship of the covenant that believers in Christ Jesus have with God today. So this is a type of that kind of agreement, so that you will understand the depth of the relationship between God and the children of Israel. Now, the idea of entering this covenant, after they are becoming his own people, they will be under God's kingship. And so they will be his people, and he will be their Lord, he will be their God, and he will be their ruler. And so at this point, God had fulfilled his promise. He had brought them into the promised land. He had established them. They are now a nation. And so it was their time to fulfill their end of the covenant by showing their loyalty and allegiance to God, who delivered and established them. And they were supposed to do that by faithfully serving him. Many times, we promise God that if he did A and B, we will serve him. Right? Many times. God, if you will do this, I will serve you. God, if you will give me this, I will serve you. But in the end, being a faithful God, he will always fulfill his promises. But as for us, on the other hand, we will keep postponing our own. We'll do it tomorrow, we'll do it day after. In fact, we'll get to the point where some will turn their backs to God and forget completely the commitment that they have made to God. If you have a pending commitment, I would suggest that you make haste to fulfill it while there is still time. Don't make a commitment and fail to fulfill it, especially when it is with God. Covenant renewal, the path to walking into God's promises. So how do we then walk into God's promises for us? That will lead us to the first point. Serve the Lord faithfully. Serve the Lord faithfully. That is one way that we will be able to live a life of covenant renewal that will set us into walking the path into God's promises. Looking at verse 14 of our passage, to fear the Lord, as Joshua will capture here, does not imply that the nation be terrified at the mention of the name of the Lord or at his appearance. The idea that Joshua is seeking to communicate here is to invite the nation to revere God in respect, in honor, in love, in trust, in obedience, and in worship. Of course, we know that worship wraps up all of this, that we submit completely to the Lordship of God in every sphere of our lives as we live. It seeks to communicate an idea that promotes an intimate relationship and devotion to God from the nation. Now, the opposite of reverence for God is the worship of idols. That's exactly what Joshua was trying to paint to the nation when he would say, choose. So worship of idols is direct opposite of being faithful to God. And that is the highest order of unfaithfulness. It can be likened, if you read the prophets, especially those who have written, it can be likened to a couple where one is choosing to be unfaithful to the other. And in this sense, God has been pictured as the husband and the nation as the wife. The prophet Hosea will give us a picture of that. Ezekiel brought out that message as well. You recall that 2 years ago we studied Ezekiel. So all of this communicates the idea of unfaithfulness. When the nation will choose to worship idols instead of worshiping Yahweh, that is the highest order of unfaithfulness. And so Joshua is not putting these parallel thoughts for the Israelites to choose one. He was instead calling on them to make a commitment of faithfulness to God. He was fully aware that the children of Israel knew the difference. They knew the difference. Whatever choice they were going to make, it was not going to be out of ignorance. Look at verse 16. Then the people answered, far be it from us to forsake the Lord to serve other gods. That's what they said. Far be it. Sometimes we don't match our speech with our action. I think many so-called Christians today have chosen to be unfaithful to God. And it is not out of ignorance. It is a choice that they have made to pursue their fleshly desires. But the children of Israel, they confessed that it was Yahweh that brought them out of Egypt. Look at verse 17. It was the Lord our God himself who brought us and our parents up out of Egypt from the land of slavery and performed those great signs before our eyes. And many other things that they will see. So they weren't ignorant of the situation, of the picture, of what Joshua was calling them into. Look at how God had set them free from slavery. And you can bring back that home to yourself as you reflect upon the way Jesus set us all out from the clutches of Satan. It's given us freedom. Look at the great miracles that God performed right before them. When he protected them from their enemies, when he granted them victory in battles against mighty armies that were greater than them. Remember, they saw giants and they said they were like grasshoppers before them. But the Lord delivered them. Can you remember your giants that the Lord delivered you from? The great adversities that attacked you in many ways, even from within. The Lord delivered you from all of them. The Lord granted victory. In fact, in their sojourn, the Lord provided manna and quails for them to eat in the desert. There was food. When we will talk about how there is so much hunger in our country, the Lord has been providing for us that at least we don't go to bed hungry. Even when we go hungry, at least when we wake up in the morning, there is something to do. If you are here in seminary church and you are living in hunger, it is your choice. Yes, it's your choice. Because we are one family. If you need intervention, you know where to go to. Right here, except if you are not one of us. The Lord has provided. Right in the heart of the desert, he gave them water to drink. Water came up from the ground, water came from the rock, and many more things the Lord did. See, these people understood clearly what they were to do by way of response to God upon all the things that the Lord has done for them. One simple act, worship, to faithfully submit themselves to God. Do you fully understand what the Lord has done for you? In the whole of your life, you know this song, they say, count your blessings. But because of the presence of the Lord in our lives daily, we have developed this syndrome that is captured by this Hausa saying, Ido wa karena. One that does have a kulu. The question was put to the eyes. Who do you always look down upon? He said, the one I see daily. That is what this means. So, we are a very religious people. We see God every morning and evening before we go to sleep, and every morning when we're off from bed, you know, the devotions and the rest of them. We see God daily, don't we? Maybe I will add the rest. We see Him in our interactions. We see Him in our journeys. We see Him in everything, every day of our life. We see Him. And that is why many of us don't take Him serious. Because we see Him always. God requires faithful submission. If we must walk into God's promises, we must constantly reflect on the covenant that we have entered with Him. And this is one catch. By way of showing their willingness to be faithful to Yahweh, they were to throw away any object that they give allegiance to. In history, during the time of children of Israel and the nations surrounding them, it was very clear. Any kind of deity had its identity that it gave its worshippers. I think in Nigeria, the Yoruba people will bring a good example to us. You have among their deities the god of iron. What do they call that one? Shango, the god of iron. They had the god of thunder. There was the god of whatever. In the history past, during that period, they had the same kind of idea. There were the gods of fertility for humans. There were the gods of giving agricultural produce. There were the gods of victory in battle. So whatever they had before them, it was that god that they would put before them to represent them. So every deity will give its people its identity. I even dare to say that the same applies for leadership. Every leader has the tendency of passing their identity to followership. A violent leader begets what? Violence. A peaceful leader begets what? Begets peace. Even when there will be some dissenting voices beneath, the top will always have a way of determining what follows. If you see so much violence in Nigeria, you don't need to go very far. Check who is the leader. You'll understand very well why there is so much violence. Joshua was calling upon the children of Israel that they must throw away every idol they had kept to gain God's favor, because God will never share his abode with any other God. And I think today we have human idols that many people style themselves after. Yet we want to walk in God's new plans for us. Friends, you'll be deceiving yourself. You style yourself and follow another idol and expect God's blessings, you're wasting your time. It's not possible. These two, they cannot work. Today, these gods come in different appearances. Lust, excessive love for riches, selfishness, material things, and all of the idols of the heart. Hi, that one is too deep. We can't begin to even open it up. Even some of the good things that God has given to us to live with, to walk with, that they will be at our command, we have turned them to become idols to us. And by doing that, we have corrupted those things, and we have further corrupted the heart of man. Sometimes when we are moved, we throw away these gods, only to return to them after the excitation energy is finished. We return them back in secret when no one is watching. That is why we are always repenting. That is why we don't grow. We don't change. There can never be growth if there is no change. Many people have become like the proverbial dog that will vomit and then go back and eat the vomit. But I think in actual life, dogs do that. If you've raised dogs before, you know that dogs sometimes go back and eat their vomit. Very disgusting. Yeah, those are the kind of disgusting things many of us are engaged into. And I think it's time we begin to reflect and ask ourselves the question, what idol do I need to throw away? Especially now that we are beginning a new year. And then we have this theme. Behold, I'm doing a new thing. See, it's God that is doing a new thing, not me. What idol do I need to throw away? What idol do you need to throw away in order to walk into God's promise for you and all of yours in 2019 and beyond? Joshua reminded the community what awaits them should they do otherwise. Look at verse 19 and 20. Joshua said to the people, you are not able to serve the Lord. He is a holy God. He is a jealous God. He will not forgive your rebellion and your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve foreign gods, He will turn and bring disaster on you and make an end of you. The Lord will protect His holiness. The Lord will deal with any breach of covenant. Joshua was not suggesting in any way that they were unable to serve the Lord, but that serving the Lord is not what should be taken lightly, friends. I've always said this, that because God has chosen to be our friend does not mean that He's our playmate. The Bible describes Him as a consuming fire. That is not something to joke with. God will punish every breach of the covenant agreement. So what are we supposed to do in order to serve God faithfully? That will lead us to our second point. Be resolved to stand out. Amen. Be resolved to stand out. That is the second point. Joshua, as a house head of his family, he demonstrated this kind of resolution that believers should have at all times. He stepped out to set a godly pattern for the children of Israel. And on behalf of his family, Joshua made a declaration of faith, a declaration of identity. He proclaimed that they will be known as the family that worships God. Amen. Will your family be known today as a family that worships God? That is the challenge that Joshua is putting to us today. Their identity will be rooted in Yahweh. And I think in this instance, not only as a leader, but as a house head, Joshua dared to stand out. Can you dare to stand out today? To declare your identity? Remember, whatever character you see displayed out there, someone is displaying the identity of whoever they are pledging their allegiance to. Who are you pledging your allegiance to? He was telling the community of his family's choice, irrespective of what the community will decide. Many people will call you names when you dare to stand out. When you will stand for Jesus, wherever you are, in your workplace, in your community, many people will call you names. The temptations that will be around us as God's children will be intensely appealing. You know the flesh. It will draw you. The temptations will be so palatable. You want to touch it, you want to taste it. They are all going to be around us. Are you going to dare to stand out? The journey is going to be tough. That you will be looking for an escape route. Will you stand out for God? What Joshua did is what we call spiritual leadership in the home. God designed the family to be the first unit of influence in knowing and serving Him. It is in families that members of that family grow into each other. And I pray, those of us on Wednesday that were here, this is what we prayed for on behalf of Seminary Church. That we will grow into each other's lives. That we will love one another with the love of Christ. A love that is sensitive to each and every one of us. Growing into each other's life. This we have prayed for this year. That we will grow in this act. And I pray that we will take it serious. That in our homes we will continue to pray. That we will take each other serious and take cognizance of what is happening around family members. That is what families do. We watch out for one another. We take care of one another. We pray for one another. We lead each other into progress, into success, not seeking the downfall of someone. You know, when love is not properly positioned, it can actually break someone down. That is not what we want. That we will work hand in hand to help each other to grow as one family. So members of one family grow into each other. They tend to speak alike, dress alike, in fact, and even look alike until they are able to mirror Jesus. Amen. Remember, this is the goal that God has. That the manifestation of humans, us, His children, will follow in pattern of Jesus Christ. God's plan is that a nation will be groomed to be faithful and committed to Him. And that must come from the home, the family. You will recall that Abraham, the first covenant bearer, was commended of that. If you read Genesis chapter 18, verse 18 and 19, God said, is Abraham not designed to bring up his family in the fear of the Lord? Is he not going to be great in the land? Should I hide my mind, my heart to Abraham? When we walk in this order that God has designed for us, He will reveal reveal his heart, his mind to us. We will know his plans. And we will walk in accordance to God's plans. That is the idea of what we're going to be looking at this year. You want to understand the mind of God? Then walk the walk. That is why God will instruct the children of Israel in Deuteronomy chapter 6 from verse 4. How that they were to raise up children in the fear of the Lord. In everything, in speech, in conduct, in activities, in character, in engagements, they were to model their offspring in that order. And that is why you will see that the Israelites, they had a strong family tie. The family was closely knitted into a unit under the leadership of the father, who provided the spiritual leadership. And I think this is a wake-up call to us men today. It is our duty to provide this leadership in the home, not to bully and to destroy our homes, but to nourish, to nurture, and to raise our homes to be altars where worship will be the order of the day. We set the pace for all in the home to follow under the gentle counsel of the mother. The parents together put their hands, all the children of God put their hands to raise the younger generation in the fear of the Lord. See, if you are an abuser and the Lord does not intervene, your children will do likewise. You check the order. There is a great tendency that children will follow after their parents. A child will reflect the values, the valor, and the faith of the parents. And that is why this very question is important to us today. What identity are you setting for those coming from behind you? It's a reflection of whom you are pledging your allegiance to. If your allegiance is to Yahweh, then you will see a reflection of that in your offspring, or in those coming from behind you. Whether you have children or you don't, you have the responsibility, if not in the smaller unit of the family, then in the larger family of Christ, that you reflect the identity of God, that the younger ones looking up to you will follow suit. So the resolution to stand out is not something we do on New Year's Eve or on wedding days. You know, on wedding days, we make resolutions, we take vows of what we will do. It's independent of the turbulence of the journey. Resolutions are not made for a day, they are made for a lifetime. If we must walk into God's promises for our homes in 2019 and beyond, we must faithfully stand firm on our commitment to God. Amen. And the last point will help us understand this very idea. Passing on the legacy. Covenant renewal requires passing on the legacy. Joshua had done an appropriate leadership handing over. He was able to allot all of the lands for all of the tribes before his death. If you read the account, you will see that. But almost all the time, we have been accusing Joshua, especially when we read the book of Judges, that Joshua did not hand over to someone like Moses handed over to him, and that is why the nation failed. I think we need to understand the situation very well. First, that God had always been their leader. That is the arrangement. If you read Deuteronomy chapter 31, you will see that. And especially when you go to 1 Samuel chapter 8 verse 7. You remember when the nation said, we want you, Samuel, to give us a king like other nations. When he reported the matter to God, God said to him, forget it, Samuel. It is not you they are rejecting, but me. It is not your rulership they are rejecting, it is mine. So cool down and give them what they are asking for. You see how God's own children can be taken away by things of the sight. Remember, we don't live by sight, right? We live by faith. But they were taken away by the things they saw with the world, and they said to Samuel, we want a king like the other nations. settling down for something less than what they had. God was to be their king. This must be put in perspective. Jesus must reign supreme in our lives today. And so, coupled with that, the community was no longer sojourning. They have settled down into villages under their tribal leaders. They had clans and they had house heads. And also, thirdly, the tabernacle, of course later it was going to be the temple, will be the center where everyone was reminded that Yahweh has been the leader, the king, and the Lord of the nation. All along, it was him that led them from Egypt, not Moses. It was him that settled them in the promised land, not Joshua. If you read Deuteronomy chapter 31, from verse 1 to 6, you will see that account captured. And so this is the reason why Joshua is giving this last charge that we have read today. So a proper handing over was done, but the handing over was not even done to one person. You would expect this to be more successful. If you look at chapter 24 of Joshua verse 1, this is what the Bible says. Then Joshua assembled all the tribes of Israel at Shechem. He summoned the elders, leaders, judges, and officials of Israel, and they presented themselves before God. So Joshua handed over to a team of leaders that were to carry on the commission, because the nation has now been settled in their different villages, and they had smaller leaders who were to carry on with the legacy and the centrality where they will find the motivation and the drive was going to be the tabernacle itself. But what went wrong? Something went wrong. And listen carefully. The failure of the nation was a failure of parenthood. That was the first instance. God had given them instructions on how to raise godly families, which in turn will breed a healthy nation. But they failed. They failed. From the home front, they failed. As a nation, the larger family of God, they were supposed to celebrate covenant renewals as a nation after every 7 years, so that they will maintain the covenant tradition throughout generations. But they failed. You see how the failure from the family grew into the failure of the nation. Covenant renewal was supposed to be something close to a reenactment of the covenant they entered with God in Exodus 19. Once every 7 years, they were to do that. But they failed. Joshua had given them two principles of passing on the legacy from the passage that we have read. They failed to keep that. Do you think that as a nation, when men, in a generic sense I mean, will decide to turn their backs on God and still expect His blessings? Is that possible? It's not possible. That is why it is always very dangerous to have people who do not know God to represent you. They will speak on your behalf, but they do not know God. What do you think will happen? Few lessons I want us to draw from this as we draw to conclusion will include the following. The first one you find in verse 26. Joshua recorded all of the resolutions the nation took before God, because he wanted the next generation to learn of what their parents committed themselves to. He wanted the next generation to follow the patterns set by their forefathers in serving God. And I think it's important we ask ourselves the question, are we keeping record of our journey with the Lord, so that our offspring, so that the generations that will come after us will see and say, indeed, the generation of our parents served the Lord. See, don't expect more than you gave your children. Many of us will expect that our children they must excel in everything when we ourselves have done nothing about that. Some of us as children, today you are parents. Let me expose your secret. You have been persecuting your children that you were top in your class during your days, especially this one. You know, this one is the simplest one that we persecute our children. And it's not because you've excelled, it's because it was the same persecution your father gave you or your mother. Bring out the certificate, let us see now. Say, during my time, I was the best. Many of us cannot use that credential against our children today and say, during our time, I was the best. So you have no excuse, you must be the best. Bring it out. Bring it out, let's see. Really, you were the best. I don't recall my father ever telling me to be the best because he was the best during his days. But I heard from his peers that he was the best during his own days. Not from him. You know, as they say, it is the empty drum that makes the loudest noise. Now, get me right. In a godly way, you can use your excellence to encourage your children to be excellent, not to oppress them. And you know how? It is when they see you live it. It's when they see you live that quality of life, they will want to be like you. I did not, for once in the past, looked at my father as a model because he told me he was the best, but because I saw his life and I really wanted to be like him. I don't think I am halfway already. I think he was a very great guy. And he left me and my siblings a very big shoe to fit into. Not because he constantly reminded us of that, but because we were able to see him live that. And I think that is a big challenge to me. As I look at those who are coming from behind, I will expect them to excel because Jesus expects the same of all of us. But we need to live it out so that we will be that example. Another thing I want us to see is captured in verse 26 and verse 27, where we see Joshua setting up a stone memorial where the community gathers so that together they can be reminded of the nation's commitment to serve Yahweh. So I asked the same question, what memorial have you set for your children? I gave you this story once, that the walls in our home were empty. We didn't have any pictures. Until one day, one of our children stumbled into our wedding picture. Stumbled. And then that day she realized that we actually got married, me and her mother. And that challenged us. So, you know, I was wondering, what was she thinking in her head before? So it's today that she's realizing that we actually got married. When she saw her mother in the wedding gown, and I was actually wearing this very suit that day. I'm glad to remember that. And we decided we needed to put a memorial for our children. So we printed our wedding pictures and we pasted them on the wall, so that every day they will be reminded of that. So today I hear them talk about how they want their wedding gowns to look like. It's very funny. In fact, one of them said, Mom, I want to wear the gown you wore on your wedding day. And you know what? That gown was borrowed. Sorry, I'm embarrassing you. But let me tell you the beautiful ending. Somehow, the honor of the gown just this December packaged the gown and gave it to my wife as a gift. We couldn't afford a gown when we got married. We couldn't even afford to rent one. I'm very serious. But the gown has come back to us as a gift. So maybe that child of ours would get our prayer answered. Set a memorial of God's faithfulness and your walk with God at home, so that your children will see from you and love to follow Jesus. This memorial that Joshua made reminds me of the cross that Jesus left for us, so that we are constantly reflecting upon the depth and the height of the love of God that has been lavished upon us in Jesus to save us. Amen. Even though I see a generation today hanging the cross on their necks, some put it here, their earrings, without understanding its true meaning. That is very sad. And that is why today we have given our offspring a form, but they do not understand the meaning. We have raised a generation whose heart have become stone cold towards God. Something is wrong somewhere that we need to correct. Can we give them Christ, even when we have everything? Can we give them Christ above all that we can? Because it is only Jesus that is able to turn their hearts of stone to that of flesh, that is able to listen to Him and to obey Him. Amen. I was reading in the papers, a certain rich man, he said people were asking him, we see your children jumping into the commercial buses and taxis and climbing okadas. When you can afford to buy cars for each of them, he said, you know, I worked hard for my own. Let them work hard for theirs. Let them work and earn it, so that they will value it. I think that is good. In conclusion, to tie up everything and connect it to the table that we have before us today, the book of Joshua opens with the Lord fulfilling His promise of the Holy Land that He said He would give to the children of Israel, a faithful God. And we see the book closing with a nation promising to serve Him in faithfulness. But I think, as Joshua outlines for them here, he says, to succeed, you must throw away any form of distraction from among you. See, we are plagued with all kinds of challenges, and there are many options that are opening before us. Be careful, some of these options will lead you to destruction. It is a call for us today to review our allegiance. Where does it lie? For me, I will trade with Joshua and say, I choose to serve Jesus for me and my family. Are you going to make the same decision with me as we walk this journey of life? This is the call before us today, to review our allegiance. Is it to Jesus or to Mammon? If it is to Jesus, we must cast out our idols and serve Him and live in Him in obedience to Him every day of our lives. The Holy Communion that we call, and for us in Ecuador we take it once every month. I know some churches that take it every Sunday. It is a covenant renewal. Remember what Jesus said? He said, do this in remembrance of me. So don't take the Holy Communion lightly. It's a covenant renewal ceremony. We reflect and remind ourselves, because you see, we humans, we have such a short memory. Look at what happened to the children of Israel. Celebrate the covenant renewal once every 7 months, and they failed. And they failed the first 7 years rather. They failed the first 7 years, they failed the second one, and then a generation came that did not remember the covenant. Friends, if we fail to reenact this idea, if we fail to remind ourselves, and thankfully today we have our children, they will watch us take this, and they will get interested in knowing why do we do this. And that is how we pass on the godly legacy to them. And that is how they are able to refresh their minds to remember the commission that God has given us here on earth. God has given us this ordinance to help us remember our commitment to serve Him and be His witnesses with the whole of our being all the days of our lives. It is a call to action, a faithful commitment to show forth the light of the gospel of Jesus Christ here on earth until He returns. Amen. So what will your response be? What will your response be? Will you choose Jesus? And if you are here, you do not know Jesus, I beseech you, I call upon you to open your heart to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, so that you can walk into His promises for you and for your family as we live here on earth. You cannot serve Jesus along with those gods you keep in secret. Friends, God is doing a new thing in the lives of His people. Amen. So I call on you today to make a commitment for Jesus, so that together we will walk into God's plan for you and for me in this year and even beyond. Amen. Let's bow our heads in prayers. Just tell Jesus that commitment. It is time to renew our covenant, even in our homes, with our spouses, with our children. We need to begin from there, to renew our covenant between us and God, between the family and God, between the larger family of God, the church, the new Israel, and God. And that is how we are able to draw others who do not know Jesus to understand this relationship that we have with Him. Invite Jesus into your heart if you don't have Him, so you can walk with us, children of God, in this 2019, in God's new plans for us. Lord, we thank you for what you have done for us and in us. Your blessings, we ask, that they accompany us as we journey, this turbulent journey. This year, when we look ahead, it looks so challenging and turbulent, but we know that with you, we will be victorious. With you, we are already victorious, and we thank you. Lord, I ask of you, that if there is anyone here who does not have Jesus in their hearts, in their lives, speak to them, Lord, and bring them to your saving knowledge, so that they will have life eternal. This is the cry of our heart. And this cup, as we take it together, it's a reminder to us of this commitment to serve you faithfully, that constantly we'll be renewing our covenant with you, so that your name will remain indelible in our lives, in our hearts, and in our lips. Your own glory and honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.